Tonight, several breaking developments. The bride-to-be shot dead by police. Tonight, for the first time, what she said in her calls to 911. And a new report tonight on what police might have thought right before the shooting. Also tonight, the state of emergency at this hour. The fire out of control, nearly 5,000 already evacuated. And tonight, it's now moving in on one of America's most famous parks. O.J. Simpson, the decision tomorrow. And tonight, what we've learned already. How many votes does he need in that room? And we have one of the former prison guards right here tonight. We have breaking news coming in involving President Trump's son-in-law and senior advisor Jared Kushner. He has now agreed to appear before the Senate Intelligence Committee. Our team standing by with when. And caught on camera, the new video tonight. Did police plant evidence? You will see what one officer does before authorities say he turned his body cam on.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a Wednesday night. And we begin tonight with fast-moving developments in the case of the bride-to-be shot dead a short time after she called 911 for help. Tonight, for the first time, Justine Damon's own words, what she told the 911 dispatcher when she called for help twice. Still a mystery at this hour why one of the responding officers shot her. So far, he is still not talking. But tonight, there is a new report on the officers and what they might have thought just before those shots were fired. ABC's Alex Perez in Minneapolis tonight.
Female screaming behind the building.
Tonight, a clearer picture emerging of Justine Damon's final minutes. Police releasing the transcript of her late-night call to 911 from her Minneapolis home. I can hear someone out the back, she says. I'm not sure if she's having sex or being raped. Damon telling the dispatcher, it's been going on for a while, and I think she tried to say help, and it sounds distressed. Even calling back 8 minutes later, still waiting, worried that officers got the address wrong. Investigators now revealing officers Matthew Harity and Mohammed Noor responded to that dark alley, squad car lights off. Harity later telling investigators they were startled by a loud noise nearby and that Damon appeared immediately at the driver's side window. He says Noor, who was on the passenger side, then fired his gun through the open driver's side window.
Shots fired. Going down. 5:30 and 30 feet.
Shortly after calling police to get help for another woman, Damon was dead. Harity's attorney telling the Minneapolis Star-Tribune it's certainly reasonable to assume the police believed they might be the target of an ambush. So far, Officer Noor has declined to be interviewed by investigators, but police tonight say they also want to talk to another possible witness.
There was someone, 18 to 25-year-old male on a bicycle who was there who may have some information.
Spotted just before the shooting and later at the scene while police were trying to save Damon.
My greatest concern is for the individual who, Justine Damon, and for her family who have suffered this grievous loss.
In her native Australia, an emotional memorial for Damon, who was due to get married in 3 weeks. Even the Australian Prime Minister demanding justice.
How can a woman out in the street in her pajamas seeking assistance from the police be shot like that?
And Alex Perez joins us live tonight. Alex, we know an independent investigation is already well underway. And who would decide in this case whether to bring any charges?
Well, David, in most cases, it would be a grand jury. But here in Minneapolis, the county prosecutor has decided he alone will review evidence and determine whether to pursue charges. David?
Alex Perez leading us off tonight. Alex, thank you. There is also a state of emergency playing out tonight. 43 major fires burning, one in particular, forcing nearly 5,000 from their homes as the fire now gets closer. And tonight it is moving in on Yosemite National Park. The smoke so thick in the park, you cannot see what makes it most famous. ABC's Kenneth Moten on the fire lines from California.
Tonight, the Detweiler fire exploding in size to more than 70 square miles. Firefighters calling it the most powerful of their careers.
Talking to firefighters, it's been over 10 years since we've seen fire and fire growth like this.
2,200 firefighters trying to keep up in grueling conditions on the ground.
These firefighters, the first line and pretty much the only defense, keeping watch over these flames, hosing them down because look, walk with me here. You can see there's a home they're trying to protect just a few feet away.
From the air, this firefighter's helmet cam showing the terrifying view as the fire rages out of control. The governor declaring a state of emergency. The entire town of Mariposa, all 2,000 residents, ordered to get out.
Everybody's scared. You'd never think something like this would happen in your town.
We've got 3 wells going, fire breaks, we've got a water truck.
Brian Bullis and his wife staying behind to protect their nearby home.
These winds are just totally different this year, and there's a lot of fuel.
This time lapse showing the smoke rolling through Yosemite Valley, Half Dome disappearing in the haze. The fire burning just 35 miles from Yosemite National Park at the height of tourist season.
It's falling.
Flames already shutting down one of the main roads. Firefighters setting backfires to control the blaze's spread.
David, the firefight will continue in these dry conditions and extreme heat. Things can change in an instant out here. So firefighters say their main objective, keep residents away from this dangerous situation and control the flames. David.
Kenneth Moten in California for us. Kenneth, thanks. Meantime, we're also following severe storm warnings at this hour and a potentially dangerous heat wave really for much of the country. Triple-digit temperatures on tap. We want to go live to Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z tonight, tracking it all for us. Ginger?
And David, trees are uprooting right now as we speak. 70-mile-per-hour winds and the severe thunderstorm watches, even embedded tornado warnings in that line in Minnesota and Iowa. I want to take you, though, south of there, where in this heat dome, there are excessive heat warnings and heat advisories that stretch from Oklahoma through Missouri and then all the way here to New York. Numbers will look like this: 110 Kansas City, the feels like tomorrow here, nearly 100 in New York. David.
Ginger's here with us tonight. Ginger, thanks as always. We are also following breaking developments involving President Trump's son-in-law and senior advisor, Jared Kushner. We have just learned he will now appear before the Senate Intelligence Committee on Monday. ABC senior White House correspondent Cecilia Vega with what she's learned tonight.
Tonight, ABC News has learned Jared Kushner will be the first person in the president's inner circle to appear before Senate investigators in their Russia probe. The president's son-in-law and senior advisor has agreed to appear before the Senate Intelligence Committee on Monday as part of the investigation into Russian election meddling. Kushner likely to face tough questions about his meetings with Russian officials during the transition, meetings he did not initially disclose on security clearance applications. Not to mention that Trump Tower meeting with Donald Trump Jr. 2 weeks after Mr. Trump became the Republican nominee. In an email, Don Jr. was told the purpose of the meeting with the Russian lawyer was to provide the Trump campaign with some official documents and information that would incriminate Hillary. The information described as high-level and sensitive and part of Russia and its government's support for Mr. Trump. Kushner's lawyer telling ABC News he is prepared to cooperate and appreciated the opportunity to assist in putting this matter to rest.
All right, let's get live to Cecilia Vega at the White House tonight. Cecilia, you've also learned that Donald Trump Jr. and former campaign chair Paul Manafort have both been asked to testify on Capitol Hill next week.
Representatives for both of those men confirmed that they have received these invitations, but their appearances are not yet confirmed. Both have said they would be willing to cooperate. And you'll remember not that long ago, President Trump said if Don Jr. wants to testify, he should. David.
Cecilia Vega with late developments from the White House tonight. President Trump, meanwhile, bringing Senate Republicans to the White House today and then issuing a new order. Do not leave Washington until you come up with a new plan to repeal and replace Obamacare. But then the White House was asked, is the president promising the same himself? Will he stay in Washington until it happens too? ABC's Mary Bruce on the Hill again tonight.
First, the president said he wanted to repeal and replace. Then, when Republicans blindsided him, he said just repeal. Then it was just let Obamacare fail. And today at the White House, a new order to go back to repeal and replace.
I intend to keep my promise, and I know you will too.
It was a signature promise he made repeatedly on the campaign trail.
We're going to repeal and replace Obamacare. We will do it, and we will do it very, very quickly. It is a catastrophe. You're going to have such great health care at a tiny fraction of the cost, and it's going to be so easy.
Then, as president-elect, he promised to do it quickly.
But probably the same day, could be the same hour.
And today he told senators they should not leave town until they get it done.
We should repeal and replace, and we shouldn't leave town until this is complete, until this bill is on my desk.
The president reminding Republicans sitting there that they voted more than 60 times to repeal all or part of Obamacare while Obama was in office.
I'm sitting in that office. I have pen in hand. You never had that before. You know, for 7 years, you had an easy route. We'll repeal, we'll replace, and he's never going to sign it. But I'm signing it. So it's a little bit different.
The The president also making a veiled threat against one of the senators who signaled he might bail. Senator Dean Heller of Nevada sitting right next to him.
Look, he wants to remain a senator, doesn't he? Okay.
Meanwhile, back on the Hill, protesters swarmed the Capitol, making clear what's at stake for Republicans. Tonight, Republican leader Mitch McConnell is pushing ahead. He says the Senate will still move to vote on a bill to just repeal Obamacare. But some Republicans are still not on board.
No replace with repeal, whatever part of the process is, I'm not voting to move forward.
Mary Bruce live on the Hill again tonight. And Mary, the Senate could go ahead next week to just vote on a straight repeal. And tonight we're learning from the Congressional Budget Office the so-called score on this. How many Americans could be affected?
David, a straight repeal could leave 32 million more Americans uninsured over the next decade, and premiums for some could double. But that's only if Republicans don't come up with a separate plan to replace Obamacare.
And Mary, what about that other issue? What about the president? The White House was asked, is he willing to stay in Washington as he's ordered Senate Republicans on this?
David, the White House says the president is willing to stay in town so long as senators are right here on the Hill and working on health care. David.
Mary Bruce, thank you. Next tonight to O.J. Simpson. The decision comes tomorrow. A parole board could clear him to leave after 9 years behind bars. And tonight, one of the men he is accused of robbing telling ABC News he should go free. ABC senior national correspondent Matt Gutman outside the prison tonight.
After 9 years in lockup in Lovelock, Nevada, O.J. Simpson is headed to that fateful parole hearing with an ace up his sleeve. The man you see Simpson infamously heading to rob at this casino, Bruce Fromong, telling ABC News he'll testify on behalf of the NFL Hall of Famer. That 2007 heist instead got him an up to 33-year sentence.
I thought I was confronting friends and retrieving my property. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry for all of it.
Former prison guard Greg Garnett chatted with Simpson regularly during his first years in prison.
What was he like? To tell you the truth, he was just like anybody else on the yard. He was never disrespectful.
And that's the case that Simpson will try to plead to the parole board, and it all happened just beyond the barbed wire through that little blue door there. That parole board, comprised of 6 commissioners, will also consider the potential risk he poses to society should he be released. Now, Simpson needs 4 of the 6, a majority, in order to be granted freedom, David. But given his age, the pristine prison record he has, and of course the support of his victim, it's likely he will get paroled. Still, he can't walk free until at least October 1st. David.
All right, Matt Gutman in Nevada. Matt will be there tomorrow, and stay with ABC News for complete coverage, beginning with GMA in the morning, a live interview with Fred and Kim Goldman, then live coverage right here on ABC of the parole hearing, and a complete wrap-up, of course, right here on World News Tonight. Next this evening, troubling images from a Baltimore police officer's body cam. Tonight, authorities say it appears to show him planting evidence while other officers watched and then turning on his body cam. That evidence now leading to an arrest, raising doubts about that arrest and dozens of other cases he's been involved with. ABC's Lindsay Janis with the video tonight.
Tonight, 1 Baltimore police officer suspended and 2 others placed on limited duty as authorities investigate this video.
I'm good, check here.
The officer's body camera shows him walking down the alley, sifting through some trash, and finding a bag of drugs inside a soup can.
Yo.
But the body camera records 30 seconds of silent footage before the officer turns it on. In those 30 seconds, you can see the officer in that alley, appearing to plant the drugs. 2 of his fellow officers standing right there.
This is a serious allegation of police misconduct.
The city's public defender's office says the video was used to arrest and charge a man in January. Those charges dropped in recent days, only after the video was discovered. David, the officer is a witness in more than 50 active cases. The public defender is calling for a full review of the cases, as well as those involving the other 2 officers. David?
Lindsay Janis with us. Lindsay, thank you. And there is still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Wednesday. The video coming in, a gunman opening fire on a busy road, the female driver and her passenger targeted. The confrontation turning violent, the woman's SUV riddled with bullet holes, and you'll see surveillance video coming up right here in a moment. Also ahead, the helicopter making an emergency landing on the water, the police rescue, and tonight we're learning who was on board that chopper. And New Jersey Governor Chris Christie making all those headlines about being on the beach when it was closed to the rest of the public. Well, he caught a foul ball last night, but then what happened next at the stadium?